Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of Chaos Child. We're back in school after having gone over our bulletin board, and now we're looking around, presumably, for Arimura.
ひなえなら学校のどっかだと思うよ。うちらのクラス校内の飾り付け担当だから。
学食じゃない？あっこが引っ張っていったし。
おお、尾上さん、飯？有村？
That is some cafeteria. I know they said they just recently rebuilt, but damn.
さっきまでいたけど、あかりの班手伝うって。
あ、尾上っち、プロレスやってく？
ひなえ？はるかんとこじゃないの？
もう行くんか？尾上もやってこうぜ、プロレス。
捕まらないね。有村さん、友達多いのかな？お、どうしたの？
いや、お前、もしかして意外にモテるのか？
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, on the way.
なんで？
Wait, why? Everybody in the second year class seemed to know who you were. Not everybody, everybody.
そうなの？
Sarika made a face like she'd only just realized it now.
Huh?
Well, I never thought of her as particularly unpopular. But even though we weren't always together, we were together often enough that I was too close to get a sense of something like that. Wait, I think a long time ago, Kurusu once told her, act a little more like a girl, you're wasting your potential?
タク？
なんでもない。というか、尾上、お前本当に有村さんのこと知らなかったのか？よくわからないけど、結構ネットワークが広そうな子じゃないか。違うクラスとはいえ、女子のグループとかでは繋がってても良さそうなもんだけど。
Girls at a high school had to be better connected than anybody else around, right?
さあ、私クラスのグループとかそういうのあまり意識したことないから。
That makes sense.
もう少し女の子らしく振る舞いなさい。
何それ？それマジで？
I suddenly heard a voice I remembered. Did you? Is that Arimura?
今の。
I looked next to me and saw that Sarika was clinging to the window glass and looking down. I looked down and I saw someone I knew walking with a group of girls toward the school gate.
急ごう。
違う。告白までは言ってないって言ってた。でもあいあい傘でしょ？雨降る夜の渋谷でしょ？アッコの性格なら、というかアッコの思い度合いなら告白までは行くよ。やっぱそう思う？ロールキャベツ系女子だもん。
Okay, wow, I definitely need to look this one up. A girl who may seem shy at first glance, but who can become extremely forceful when it comes to getting what she wants in love. The name comes from the Japanese cabbage roll, which is spiced meat wrapped in a cooked cabbage. Okay. It's said that the peaceful cabbage on the outside hides the vicious carnivore that lurks within.
嘘、アッコってロールキャベツなの？買い出しかな？
Arimura was walking through the yard with two people who looked like they were her friends. Just like Sarika said, she wasn't helping with the decorations in the yard, she was heading straight for the gate.
話しかける？
いや、ちょっと待って。
I needed to get ready. What should I ask? What happened in the hotel, of course. And what did she mean about what she told me?
はるかはどうなの？磯崎くん。あれ？言ってなかったっけ？はるか今白井くんと仲いいんだよ。うっそー！お姉さんは聞いてませんよ。何つながり？
いや、そこまでじゃないって。
で、何つながり？
ツイポ、白井くんがハマった壁宝ボットのネタ画像、私がリツったのがきっかけで。
はるかもロールキャベツだったか。ぬかった。
いや、別に狙ったとかじゃないって。偶然。
タク、行っちゃうよ。
I know, but
なんだこのギャップ。
私は嬉しい。なんか幸せ。
she was nothing like the girl I'd seen in the hotel room, or even in the student council room. Yeah, this is bizarre. She was just a normal teenage girl. And if you asked me, one of the worthless ones who loved to talk about things that didn't matter. Suddenly, Arimura stopped.
あの人。
Yeah,
タク、
Shinjo?
あの人。
Oh, really? But he is really here. Yeah. Time to get comical. I knew him. That was the detective who'd visited the interrogation room during our questioning.
ごめん、休養ができてしまった。買い出し任せていい？
Arimura suddenly bowed to the other two. They seemed about to say something, but they must have seen the detective and thought better of it.
後で連絡する。
They left.
少し非常識じゃないですか。
Her voice sounded different, like someone had flipped a switch somewhere inside her. Oh boy!
それで、今日はどんな事件です？
Case. What was going on?
ヒカリオのホールで明日から行われる宝石展に予告状が届けられた。
まさか怪盗ロマンギーガー？
Lomangiga? What?
ああ、
Also, for the record, this is 2015. This is before Persona 5, so Phantom Thief is a coincidence. What? I couldn't follow the conversation at all.
今回ばかりは取り逃がすわけにはいかない。
What's the, like, I'm thinking that she's just like a secret police agent?
まったく、人の予定も考えずに犯罪予告出さないでほしいですよね。
頼む、君の力を貸してくれ。
こないだラブホテルでひどい目にあったばかりなのに、人使いが荒いことで。
すまないとは思っている。だが俺たちだけではどうすることも。
This is so stupid.
しょうがないな。今度とびきり美味しいロールキャベツをご馳走してください。それで手を打ちます。
We are really running with this cabbage roll thing.
ロールキャベツ？まあ、それぐらいならいくらでもお安いご用だが。
よろしく。
Arimura took the suitcase he offered her and got in the back seat of his car. And they sped off. The door closed shut, but the detective was still standing next to the car. The back seat windows were heavily tinted and I couldn't see inside. The car was shaking a little.
中で何してるのかな。
いかがわしいこと。
Maybe there was some kind of nasty old politician inside the car and he's pawing all over Arimura? The thought made me sick a little. And yet, this is still our weird fantasy that went from a secret agent thing, so I don't know what to make of this situation.
え、でもあの男の人は刑事さんだよね。
刑事だからって全員が正義の人だとは限らない。
Yeah, but like, solving a case? Maybe he was threatening Arimura and forcing her to do bad things to make money. I gulped, and tried my best not to throw up. 5 minutes passed as I stood there and watched. The detective stood there the whole time, not noticing us. And then the back seat opened. When we saw how Arimura was dressed, both Serika and I fell silent.
お待たせしました。
So he gave her a suitcase with her secret agent clothes, is my guess. I don't know why the whole car shakes, but... Huh? What the heck? Was she cosplaying a naughty policewoman? Oh, I was half right. Her uniform came complete with miniskirt. So she'd been changing clothes in the backseat of the car?
今日も決まってるな。ミニスカ捜査官有村ひなえくん。
So we had a fantasy of her going with the cop to do secret police work, complete with sexy outfit, but within our fantasy, we were concerned for her safety. Like, I don't know how Miyashiro's brain works, man.
お褒めいただきありがとうございます。それじゃ張り切って現場に乗り込みましょう。タク。
Sarika took my shoulder. She was blinking rapidly in confusion. So am I.
なんであんな格好を？
Because it's a secret costume in Resident Evil DS.
なんてって言われても。そうか。わかったぞ。有村さんは普段は女子高生だけど、それは仮の姿だったんだ。その正体は女子高生ミニスカ捜査官。重大事件の時にだけ招集され、犯人を華麗に捕まえるんだ。有村さんにあんな秘密があったなんて、これは大スクープだぞ。新聞部ですっぱ抜こう。
And over. Yup.
ミニスカ？タク、何言ってんの？
I do like how we say our stupid fantasy stuff out loud without realizing it, and then it's just weird every time.
Eh?
I suddenly realized that Sarika was looking at me in confusion. I quickly looked around. Of course, Arimura wasn't wearing a miniskirt uniform. She seemed to be talking about something serious with a detective. Did I just say that out loud? Oh no, that's embarrassing. My face was burning. She's a miniskirt detective who solves every case. What?
冗談だよ。
あんまりタクらしい冗談じゃなかったな。それとも実はそういう趣味だったとか？
Oh god. Oh,
違う。
too late, buddy.
本当にミニスカ捜査官が趣味じゃない？
そんなことより有村さんと刑事の関係を避けらないと。
We'll talk about this later. Sarika was looking at me with cold eyes, but I quickly turned my attention to Arimura's conversation.
悪いが、こちらも動ける時間をなんとかひねり出してる状態だ。刑事だとは名乗っていないから勘弁してもらいたい。
刑事うんぬんじゃなくて。
君はあくまで条件付きの釈放。わかってるね。
近くの喫茶店でいいですか？あまり知られてない穴場があるんで。
The two of them started to walk off.
刑事さんとデートかな？
Yes.
そんなわけないだろう。事件についての話に決まってる。
They're just talking about how she needs to dress up as a miniskirt cop to help them with the case. I mean, As I stood there in thought, Sarika brought her face right up to mine. It was too close, and if the other students saw, they'd get suspicious, and she smelled good, so I wanted her to stop.
どうするの？タク。
僕たちもぜひ話聞きたいよな。
I pushed her face back just a little and looked toward the direction they'd gone off in.
じゃあ、行く？
ああ、近くの喫茶店かっていうと。
Even after being damaged by the earthquake, Shibuya was still a mecca for fashion and culture. There were a number of cafes, even just around Hekiho Academy.
あんまり知られてない穴場って言ってたよね。となると、やっぱりカフェラックスかな。
There's no way to tell. We don't know about it. Yeah, that would make sense. The newspaper club went there so often because it was close to the school, but students rarely visited it.
尾上にしては冴えてるな。
褒められた。
いや、そんなに褒めてないからな。
Yeah, that was backhanded. We nodded at each other as we went through the gate.
よし、行くぞ。
オッケー。お主たちか。いつもの席は今さっき埋まって。ん？
I really love how accusatory this waitress always looks.
あの
I tried to motion to the waitress to get her to understand. Sarika and I finally succeeded in getting our point across.
ふむ。わけありか。よかろう。こちらへ来い。
With the perceptiveness that belied her ridiculous appearance, she led us to a seat near the entrance, far from our usual spot. If we put up a newspaper, maybe they couldn't spot us. We sat down and spread out a newspaper to hide our faces. I ordered myself my usual Mountain View, and Sarika her grapefruit juice. Sarika drew her shoulders in to make herself harder to spot.
聞こえる？
I peeked out a little over the newspaper and motioned for her to be quiet, then listened.
ここは壁法の人たちにとって穴場なのかい？
だと思います。
Good. It was a little hard to hear, but I could make it out. I was still amazed to find out that anyone from Hekiho but us knew about this place.
それで何なんですか？取り調べにはちゃんと通ってるじゃないですか。
さっき初めて見たが、君は壁法では随分と表情が違うんだな。
Arimura frowned a little.
取り調べに対しては黙秘こそしていないものの、徹底して平坦な調子を貫いているそうだが。
By interrogations, he must mean that they were asking her about what she was doing at the Love Hotel. What was that? A file?
2年3組有村ひなえ16歳。2014年壁標学園に入学。文芸部部長。友達が多く明るく社交的な性格の持ち主。成績は中の中。補導歴や学園側に反発するなどの問題行動を取った記録はなし。学園側から提出された君の資料だ。これにこちら側で調べた簡単な君のプロフィール以外、事件に関しては何も分かっていない。何も覚えていませんの一点張りではな。
The detective leaned back in his chair. I couldn't see his expression from here, but I could guess that he was frowning.
少しは壁法にいる時のように社交的に振る舞えないか？我々警察は全力をもって事件の解決に。
嘘です。
Her words were sharp. Arimura was glaring at the detective as if she found his presence extremely unpleasant.
そうだったな。すまない。
The detective bowed his head just a little. I couldn't see his expression.
なんだ？
自分とその協力者は全力をもって事件の解決に当たっている。少なくとも敵対する立場にはいないだろう。
Arimura fell silent for a moment, as if considering his words. What? What were they talking about?
別に取り調べに対して非協力的な態度を取るつもりはありません。ただ答えようがないだけです。事件前後の記憶がないのは本当のことなんですから。
ではそれ以外のことに関してこちらに言えることはないか？例えば殺された柿田博則との関係については？
My heart started beating faster.
タク？
The murder victim? The police had declared the Love Hotel incident revolving dead a suicide. I leaned forward even more. I couldn't afford to miss a word of this.
こちらっていうのは新庄さんとあの人たちってことですよね。
ああ、警察は関係ない。
Arimura thought for a second.
柿田さんとは協力関係でした。
協力というと、あの件についての？
もちろんそうです。時折匿名性のある場所で落ち合って情報交換をしていました。
どうやって知り合った？どうした？
兄の友人だったので。
So she has a brother then.
ん？確か君のお兄さんは地震で。
やめてください。兄や私の家のことについては関係ありません。
Arimura's voice sounded genuinely pained. The detective fell silent for a moment, allowing her words to echo through the room.
あ、わかった。
That better not be my phone.
はい、新庄。
Okay.
ああ。わかった。10分ほどで戻る。進めておいてくれ。
The detective stood up. I quickly scrunched my shoulders together and leaned close to the newspaper. The detective knew our faces. I couldn't let him see me.
そうだ。その前に、これに見覚えはないか？
The detective took out something like a file. And Arimura jerked backwards and looked away, frowning.
おい、どうした？
知ってますよ。でも嫌いなんです、そのシール。
Oh. Did she say sticker?
それがどうかしたんですか？
She was still looking away as she spat out the words.
ホテルの事件現場を撮影した動画がネットに上げられた件は知っているだろう。あれはどうやら渋谷の野良無線 LAN からアップロードされていたようで、まだ犯人が特定できていないんだが、その動画を撮影したカメラがあったと思われる場所にこれが貼ってあったんだ。何か知っていることはないか？
別に気味の悪いシールっていうだけです。街のあちこちに貼ってあるじゃないですか。早くしまってください。
Arimura refused to look at it. The detective put it away.
だろうな。こんなもの事件と関係あるはずがない。
This time he turned to go for real.
今後はなるべく署の取り調べに対しても協力的な姿勢を見せてくれ。
だから話せることがありません。
話さなくていい。だが条件付きの釈放を面白く思っていないお偉方もいる。しがらみってやつだ。へきょうであれだけ元気な君なら簡単なことだろ。
Arimura sighed a very exaggerated sigh.
言っておきますけど、今時女子高生が女子高生をやるのもかなり大変なんですよ。
Crap. Good, they didn't spot us.
ところで君の同類は今のところ他にいないんだな。
もちです。
No others like you? It did say she came in here in 2014, so just last year. So she just turned up, so something strange probably happened.
また来るがよい。 かく有村さんが出る前に出た方がよくない？
そうだな。
Things could get complicated if she caught me listening in. I paid for our drinks and headed for the exit.
また来るがよい。
I freaking love that waitress. Just as I was able to leave.
どうなろうが知ったことじゃない。
Arimura was all the way in the back, but I could hear her voice clearly. October 6th, Tuesday. 9 p.m. in front of Shibuya Station. The place was as crowded and noisy as ever. The footsteps of people rushing to the station to get home after work, the voices of people talking into their phones about where to meet for drinks, the screams of joy as old friends were reunited. It all blended together, and it all had an effect on anyone who passed through it, even for a moment. 6 years after the Shibuya quake, the city had been rebuilt to the point where there was nothing left to remind you of it. Everything was up and running again. Until a few years ago, many people would stop and stare and wonder at how everything was new, but not anymore. The slogan of the restoration efforts, Shibuya, a city reborn, had such an effect on people that the past was beginning to be forgotten. At least for people who weren't in Shibuya during the earthquake. Just a 1-minute walk away from the station was the Shibuya Earthquake Memorial. Kurisu made sure to visit once every week. She would put a flower down by the name of her best friend from elementary school and pray silently. It was only a short distance from the heart of the city, but the noise and commotion didn't reach this place. This place was somberly constructed and pure, as if it wanted to be separated from all that. Today was October 6th. The quake was on November 6th, so this was the same day of the month. Maybe that's why there were so many flowers. Some of them were lying scattered on the ground. There was no one around. Sometimes people would come at around 10:30 p.m. when the earthquake struck, but other than that, the place was mostly empty at night. Kurisu went around the area, grabbing up all the scattered flowers she could see and putting them on a nearby dais. She'd done it many times before. It was all part of her routine.
どうすればいいかな。
Kurisu was thinking about what had happened a few days before, and about her younger brother Miyashiro.
あなた殺されますよ。宮代拓先輩。
Did she hear that? Well, she'd heard it clearly. Hinaya Arimura had said those words to Miyashiro.
拓が
No, that was impossible. There was no way her brother was about to get caught up in something because of what he'd learned. A sudden wind blew the flowers out of her hand. They scattered away from her. All she could do was watch. For a moment she tried to reach out and grab them, but her hand clawed uselessly at the air. Before the feelings overwhelmed her, she turned toward the place where her friend's name was carved.
ねえ
She rubbed it gently. The familiar sensation came to her through her fingers.
どうすればいいかな。
But the name, Senri Minamisawa, just echoed the question back to her.
いいんじゃないか。珍しくいいアングルだ。
お前な、言っとくけどかなりめんどくさかったんだぞこれ。
His voice sounds different. I guess we're talking over the phone or the internet or something.
どっかにくくりつけたのか？
なんか壁にくっついてる鉄パイプみたいなやつにな。
Hmm?
違う、それきっと雨どいだ。屋根に溜まった雨水を。
どうでもいい。くくりつけるのに使ったバンドやらは自腹切ったんだからな。明日払えよ。
It was a metal pipe. No, 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 you mean a drain spout. You see, they're used to, like, shut up.
設置する場所はそっちが勝手に。
言い出しっぺはそっちだろ、宮代部長。
Grr.
言っとくけど、データの回収はみんなで持ち回りだからな。
分かってるよ。
てか、それもいちいち面倒なんだよな。中継式のは手に入らなかったのか？
高いんだよ。
And if we tried to do wireless from there all the way to Hekiho or this place, that'd be a huge pain.
そっちは？
え？
有村さんだよ。会えたのか？
I guess. It depends on how you look at it.
明日話すよ。結構面白い情報が手に入ったから。
なんだよ、今言えよ。
そろそろ渋谷ニュースの放送が始まるんだよ。
え？今日放送あるのか？
You should have been more careful.
ちゃんと全部チェックしとけよ。今日の更新文の最後に書いてあったぞ、伊藤部員。
やがましい！
He hung up on me angrily. I put the phone down and checked the time. About 5 more minutes. I opened Shibuya News and waited for the broadcast to start. After that... Arimura had waited about an hour before she'd come out of Cafe Lax. I thought about pretending to run into her, but I didn't want to go up to her too fast and have her find that I was listening. As I waited for the right moment, she got in a taxi and left. She was probably heading to the Shibuya police station for an interrogation. This was amazing. I wasn't able to talk to Arimura, but I knew I'd managed to get much more important information. There was a lot about their conversation I didn't understand, but I was right about one thing. The police were treating the incidents, or at least revolving dead, as murders.
いや、警察はじゃないのかもしれない。
That detective, Shinjo, was it? He seemed to be acting separately from the rest of the police force. And he had some kind of secret about it that he shared with Arimura. But more importantly than that, and more importantly than anything,
会話に出てきたシールっていうのは歴史シールのことだ。
from what he'd been saying, I was sure of it. And while he knew about the sumo stickers, he didn't seem to realize their importance. Maybe he hadn't realized that they were at the other 2 crime scenes. Good. I really was one step ahead of the police.
やっぱりこれはまたとないチャンスなんだ。
If I kept it up, I might be able to learn more about the case than anyone else. More than the ignorant kids getting ready for the festival. More than the people who had to cling to the internet for information. More than even the police. More than Kawahara, that jerk who called me a pretend reporter. And more than the rest of the class, who called me a camera kid.
情弱を全員見返してやれ。
はい。2015年10月7日0時になりました。皆様、ようこそいらっしゃいませ。K さんと申します。
Shibuya News' net radio started just like it had said it would. Kei's voice was as pleasant and clear as ever. The last broadcast was after the Love Hotel incident, so it would have been September 30th. It had been about a week.
まとわりつく暑さはもうなくなりましたね。発表されている通りなら、しばらくは過ごしやすい気温になると思いますが、いかがお過ごしでしょうか。
As I listened to her voice read out all the latest information from Shibuya, I grabbed a magazine off a cabinet shelf. It was a back issue of Cool Cat Press that I'd bought, or rather been forced to buy, from Gen. Just like with Kei's broadcast, it had been a while since I'd spent any time with this. I paged through it, looking for an interesting article. It was still mostly junk. 10 ways to make your ideal girl like you. How to tell your ideal girl you like her. What to say to your ideal girl to get her into your bed, etc. There were a lot of articles that were of no interest to me whatsoever. Nope, none at all. As I carefully read through these articles, which did not interest me at all, I promise, I found a small section in the back that was something a little different. Rorschach will reveal her naked heart? How to know exactly what she's thinking? What? The article consisted of strange symmetrical drawings in black ink, along with commentary from a psychoanalyst about what each said about your personality. Yeah, a Rorschach test. Or at least it was someone who claimed to be a psychoanalyst. And at the very end, there were even diagrams on how to use these pictures to see how popular you were or how compatible you were with a certain girl.
もう何でもありだな、この本。
Sure does, I whispered to myself. The Rorschach test was a famous personality test. It was named after the character from Watchmen. A famous type of projective personality test invented by a Swiss psychologist. A projective test is one which gives the subject a stimulus, right? Stimuli is plural, which can be interpreted in multiple ways and uses their response to learn more about what they're thinking or who they are. In the Rorschach test, ink is dripped onto a paper, which is then folded to create a symmetrical image. This image is then shown to the test subject and their response is recorded. Rorschach images always come in a set of 10 cards, and the use of these sets requires a great deal of knowledge and skill. Much research has been done on the use of Rorschach cards since their invention, and their use continues today. The test involved pouring black and red ink down a folded card and spreading it out to create a strange symmetrical shape. Different people would see the shape as a dog's head, or a man and a woman kissing, and what you saw told you about your personality. But the idea of using it to determine your popularity or your compatibility with a certain girl was just so stupid I had to laugh. So of course I felt compelled to take the test.
この図形は羊か?
Oh, I was waiting for all sorts of, like, sexual imagery. It doesn't mean anything, I swear.
何々? これが羊などの毛に覆われた動物に見えたあなたは、本心を隠そうという意識が強く、女の子には何を考えているかわからない人ととても警戒されています。そんなあなたのモテ度は20点です。なんだと?
You know what? Alright. Sounds about right. I snapped back to my senses. That was close. I almost did the whole test. I tossed the magazine on my desk. And then, as if she'd been waiting for me to finish, Kay's voice became a little more serious.
さて、このように今日も渋谷ではいろんなニュースがありましたが、そろそろ本題に入りましょう。今日、放送の機会を設けさせていただいたのは、ある一つの記事を皆さんに紹介したいと思ったからです。
The point? What article was she talking about? I listened intently to Kay's words.
内容は、この放送やサイトでも頻繁に取り上げさせていただいている事件に関してのもの。そう、今渋谷で起こっている連続猟奇事件です。
Wait, does this imply that Kay is the person working with Shinjo, like Momose's daughter?
6年前の渋谷で連続して起こったニュージェネレーションの狂気という事件の日付と今回の連続猟奇事件の日付が一致していることは以前に述べましたが、この動画はそれ以外の共通点を指摘してくださっています。
What? Had someone other than us noticed?
このアドレスです。
I clicked the link she posted immediately after I saw it. It was an address for a Nikoniya video. The few seconds it took to load felt like an eternity.
来たって。
This is infuriating. Like, she's always one step ahead. Huh? Every time we get a scoop, she posts it before we get the chance. I saw the thumbnail for the video and quickly turned away, and then I grabbed my phone.
尾上、渋谷ニュース聞いてるか？早く見てみろ。僕らの動画が特集されてる。
October 7th, Wednesday. Oh, so was that the camera that Ito just put up then? Because if that's the case, then never mind. But I thought it was going to be like, there's a connection with these stickers before we get to drop that information. But October 7th, Wednesday, we'll see what happens, but for now it is time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? We went to talk to Arimura, and we failed to do that, but we've learned interesting information about what's going on between her and Shinjo. Not the full story, but enough to know that we might have ourselves a scoop. But then, it seems that our video is being broadcast on K's station. This could get interesting. Until next time, everyone.